Hi, my name is Rich. I use the he, him pronouns, and you're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role playing games with friends. This is the final session of the series we're calling Coruscant Comrades. Coruscant Comrades is part of Star Wars Saturdays, this anthology campaign I've been running for and with the Gauntlet community of gamers for 3 years coming up, which is very exciting. The time period, if you're thinking like movies, is just after Return of the Jedi, maybe less than a year. And it primarily leans on the movies, the original trilogy of movies, but I pulled a little bit of stuff from the expanded universe. So the setup is this is after Emperor Palpatine. Um, we keep like Mark gets more and more present. I love that. That's it's after Palpatine has been killed on Death Star 2. He fell down a shaft, guys. The whole thing blew up. He's gone. Nothing to worry about. Just, like that's the thing when you fall down shafts in Star Wars, you're done. And but Coruscant didn't immediately roll over. Sure, in the expanded edition, special edition, we see the huge party and Coruscant's statue on Coruscant, and Palpatine's statues toppled over. But in expanded universe, and I think kind of logically, since there's a buttload of stormtroopers on Coruscant, it's the capital world of the Empire. It didn't immediately fold over. So we're telling the story of the revolution that took place some period after. There is someone known as the Vizier Sate Pestage, who was one of Palpatine's um, advisors, and he has stepped in to act as the vizier to oversee and continue the empire as it stands on Coruscant. This group are revolutionaries who have continued down two different pathways of revolution, and we are at the doorstep of potentially unseating say Pistage, but we'll see. Right, it's not a fait complete. This could be just the start of revolution. This could be the first wave that fails, but uh, builds the bridge to that freedom. There are several pathways to revolution in this game. This group has advanced all the way up to level 5, the zealotry and mayhem pathways, two very different ways to free a populace, and I'm tickled to see where we may end up here. Before we go around the horn and introduce characters, I'd like to remind you we do have lines and veils. We have lines against sexual assault, sexual violence, and harm to pet animals. We have veils against the death or endangerment of children, and a veil on consensual sex, meaning it's okay, but we're not going to focus on it. We'll just do a star wipe or fade to black. We have ask first, meaning before introducing this content, please check in with the table. And if anyone says, hey, can we try it a different way? Then please gracefully do so. Or, hey, say, I can't think of anything else. Pull the table and we'll come up with something with you and help you. The ask firsts are suicide, mind control or domination, romance with PCs, romance with NPCs, and graphic injuries. Boy, we got close to graphic injuries in last session with like cortex bombs and all that fun stuff. So good. Let's go around the horn. I will start in character keeper order, going from right to left, asking you to introduce yourself and remind us about your character. Sawyer, aka Ferret, you are up first.
Hello, I am Sawyer, aka Ferret. I use any pronouns. You can't misgender me unless you're being a jerk. Don't be a jerk. And I am playing Charlotte, the Gamorrean tattoo artist and droid lover, who has apparently become sort of the leader of this mayhem crew. And I mean, she's been very fun and quite enthusiastic in her dealings so far with her wonderful gang of artists who have made this mayhem very fun.
Nice. Next up is Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark. I use they, them pronouns. I'm playing Rogan, who uses he, him pronouns. And Rogan is a brute character type from the Comrades game. And there was a lot of violence in the last session. And he was the only one that was thinking, have we gone too far? Have we gone astray? Um, so we'll see if his brooding comes to a head or if it just stays silent inside of his little mind.
The brooding brute. I adore it. Steven, you're up.
Hi, I'm Steven, and I use the he, him pronouns. Today I'm playing Curl, who also uses he, him pronouns. Curl is an Ognaut worker, and he is kind of represents the common people. He's like the janitor at the bar that we hang out at, and he has like a janitor network of oh, hey, can I borrow the keys to that place and get in there? And whenever we did a fast forward during the last session, we see some wounds that Curl has now had, where he has lost part of his left arm and it's now replaced with a droid arm, and maybe a scar or two. But he, is good at fixing things up and things like that. Yeah.
Fix thyself, fixer. Cody, you're up.
Hey, I'm Cody. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing Lin Lanid, a Duros mystic. He's also using he, him pronouns. He is a young Duro who grew up kind of as a messiah for his own cult. He struck out on his own and he found this here motley crew. Him and Charlotte are pretty close on the path, but he's beginning to realize that this path is Charlotte's to tread, not his. So he's going to see her through it.
Very cool. So the last session, you guys freed a few members of your crew, but really you were there not to free a few members of your crew, but to take vengeance on Hussein Isard, who had, as the director of Imperial Intelligence, had captured, then terminated on by broadcast Esli Terra, the voice of the voiceless. Seeking your vengeance, you found that Hussein had taken prisoner and was using as a slave Durak, the brother of Charlotte. And during the ensuing fight, things went just a little sideways from original plan, but you guys worked it out. You just had to assassinate Hussein. I'm sure that'll be fine. It's fine. No problems there. And they took off, flying away on a speeder. I'd like to open up in a place that we haven't actually explored, but feels appropriate for where the party has advanced things, seeing as how you've become a sympathetic cause among the rich who fill your coffers with credits. I think it would be interesting if we started off at the Ebon Diamond Casino. The Ebon Diamond Casino, the boss of it is Riaka Maddox. Riaka is a human. She's Coruscanti. She was born here, raised here. You're not sure if she was born into money or if she raised her up by her bootstraps. She's always avoided talking about that particular aspect of how she and Ebon Diamond Casino became so wealthy. But she runs this place and backs the voiceless and has been actually one of the leaders of the official arm of the voiceless. And again, we've discussed over the past few sessions that there are the voiceless, and a lot of the voiceless are humans, Coruscanti, and you guys are this like little more radical wing of it who have really thrust the voiceless to the point where you are now, so far along the pathways to revolution. You guys have done the hardest work. You've paid the highest prices. And you're here at the Ebon Diamond Casino, totally biting off of Canto Bite from the sequel movies for a general look. Lots of gold and red. a surprising number of alien species are here. A good amount of credits flowing, music, frivolity for a place that is catering to revolutionaries. It is a very pleasurable place. So as we come into the scene, we do the kind of long shot of everyone playing sabacc or at various slot machines and the like. I'm curious, where do we see the dour, curmudgeonly Curl here in this scene? What is he doing?
So I think that whenever we first come on scene, you see Curl is looking really uncomfortable with all of this noise and all this shiny opulence. And I think eventually he kind of backs himself into a corner. And then you see him come out of that corner with like, an electro mop or something like that. And he kind of starts sweeping the place a little bit and feels a little bit more at ease now that he has something to do with his hand. And that makes sense. Yeah.
With his hand and cybernetic replacement hand. Oh,
Clamp.
That's so,
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Rogan, the one who's a little brooding about this, unsure? This is such a different scene from when people were huddled together in Charlotte and Lynn Lanid's apartment. You see several of the revolutionaries. Hey, turns out Chidero shows up when it's a big party at a casino. Your cousin is here as well, Mena Sion. And it seems like people are really glomming on to this. What is Rogan doing? What do we see?
So this is like a gathering for the revolution, or this is just like time to blow off steam, or?
I think it's an unofficial gathering for the revolution. Ryaka has asked you guys to show up. She would have said, please be here. There are a lot of things to discuss. Things are moving and we need to be a united front.
I think Rogan is acting as door security. Like he's looking over who's coming in and assessing threats. And, I don't know this person, but, I feel like I could take them kind of thing. So you're allowed in. I don't know you and you look way too fascist for me. So you have to get out. And so, yeah.
I've never been turned away before. We hear some Toydarian say, as you're like, no, you look too fascist for me, and you send him away. Toydarian flies away angrily. Well, I'll just go over here to this hut place. What about Charlotte? I would imagine that Charlotte has financially done pretty well if you guys are being showered with credits and you are an artist.
I think at first she was looking around like the god. Like I imagine like this place is gilded. There's gold plating everywhere. Like I imagine even the serving droids like C-3PO copper at the very least. And
Yes.
I think she's at one of the tables and is actually gambling.
Nice. Like, do you imagine that Charlotte's the kind to be like rolling dice, like craps, or playing sabacc, kind of huddled over some cards? What do you think?
Oh, I think she's definitely playing card games because who the hell can read a Gamorrean's poker face?
That's good. Kind of like that a lot. What about Lynn Lanid, the prophet?
Yeah, I think Lynn is with Charlotte at the table. I think he's seeing all this money kind of change hands, and he's still unused to just how open with wealth this place is. Not necessarily giving, but just how readily they show it. And I think he's trying to learn the game that Charlotte's playing. He's interested in making a little bit of credits himself. thinking that it might be time to, it might soon be time that he needs to move out on his own, and he's going to need money for that. So he's kind of paying attention and asking Charlotte, and that card does what now? And you have 2 of them. Oh.
People are like leaning over the table a little bit, listening to Lynn giving away parts of Charlotte's hand. Yeah, so I think we'll start off with the arrival of Riaka Maddox. She is attended by one of the, like a protocol droid, Golden. The protocol droid has a slightly like female cast to it, and Riaka is wearing, if you see the picture of her in the NPCs, she has the long gown with the kind of feathers that move and drift as she walks along the slick Duracrete floors. She makes her way up to the sabacc table and comes up and slides a hand from behind you, Charlotte, slides a hand up to your shoulder, leans in. Are you enjoying yourself, Charlotte?
And I think Charlotte like does some kind of code, like places out a few chips that are like color coded for the voiceless, and gives a nonchalant nod, and like as she's doing this, pointing out to I guess like silencing Lillinid to we'll talk about what this card does next.
Cool. And seeing that Charlotte isn't complaining, which is as much as one might expect from a Gamorrean, she slides over to you, Lillinid, leans in. And you? How are you doing, Lillinid? Are you faring well this evening? Do you have enough libation?
I am doing fine, thank you. Yes, Charlotte here is teaching me the game of sabacc. I am not sure how to say it yet, but I'm learning, and it is fun.
Good. It's pronounced different in different worlds, so you can't really do it wrong. I'm so glad that you made it here, Lynn, Charlotte. The 2 of you are so very important. So very important.
Do I get a bad vibe from her? I know that she's kind of, historically speaking, we think, she's backing us somewhat, but can I get a read of the situation? Like, it seems like she's coming for something,
What's going on here?
Yeah,
Or
what's going on
person
here?
or situation? Roll with mind.
All right. Just warm up the dice, get those going. I get a +1. And I get a 10.
Oh, don't need any help. All right. What's going on here? You get 3 questions.
All right. I think, what should I watch out for?
Mm-hmm. Okay. What should you watch out for? This is as public as you guys have been. What should you watch out for? If the Empire gets wind of this, Rogan's doing the best he can. There's so many different entrances and exits. This is a casino. It's not made to be locked down tight. And if somebody drops cred on calling the Imperials, it could not go well for you. That's what you should be on the lookout for.
Okay. So thinking that now, my mind's racing this way. Who is the biggest threat?
Interestingly enough, while you are a little suspicious of Riaka, she does not appear to be the biggest threat. It really is the looming. This is almost a dare that Riaka is placing down by having so many revolutionaries here, just to either throw it in the face of the Empire or just to see how many could be gathered and still peacefully exist.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, definitely. So with those 2 kind of answered, then I think Lynn's mind races to, there's so many of us here. There is this threat. they might crack down on us. It might be a trap, even if he doesn't feel it. If there's, this paranoia is starting to infiltrate him. I think what's the best way out?
Cool. Best way out would be through the kitchen would be the best way out. It's just not. There are several different ways to get out. That there are entrances to the subterranean tunnels, as well as some like a lift to where they go down to the storage area. So that'd be the best place to did him out. And the other thing that you generally pick up that I haven't asked about is you get the feeling that Riaka is putting you all on a bit of a show because you're so popular with the rich and the elite. You see that there are, from the few times maybe you have been through Ebon Diamond Casino, there are more high rollers here than normal. Like, this is kind of chic and just a little dangerous for the rich folks. Oh, you're talking about mute, Cody.
I swear I just clicked it. Yeah, okay. With that kind of in mind, I think Lynn's kind of looking past Riaka, looking for Curl, because Curl knows the ins and outs of every worker avenue. And I think he's just kind of trying to catch his attention and give him a nod.
Ooh. Carol, you catch Lynn looking around until he makes eye contact with you and he gives you a nod.
I think that Curl has been also making sure that he knows the exits and knows where the right places are. And I think Curl had been looking at like the equivalent of like a trash chute where people would toss stuff and it would go down. And he was like, I can fit down there. And he looks over at Lynn and Lynn's looking around and Lynn, kind of he's like, okay. And he looks back at the trash chute and he's like, Lynn could make it down there. Charlotte and Rogan couldn't. And I think that's whenever Lynn kind of gives the nod and kind of points towards, maybe the kitchens or something like that. He's like, yeah, that wouldn't be as well guarded. Okay, that makes sense. And I think that, with a short stature, Curl kind of comes up next to the table and still, just to keep busy, has like a cloth in his hand and starts to kind of wipe down the edge of the table itself and kind of looks up at Riaka and says, what are you looking for here?
Ooh, nice. She says, she reaches down and gently takes your hand and just tries to tug the rag out of your hand. It's a gentle thing. It's not a, like, I'm snatching this away from you. It's more like a comforting gesture, like mother to child, of let go of this little safety blanket. What do you do when she...
Whenever she does that, Curl reaches up with his left hand that's just kind of the claw, and kind of places her hand, slides it under her hand so that they're kind of holding this mechanical droid hand and her hand as he kind of takes the cloth and he tucks it back in. And this is, sort of a remembrance of, this is the price that we've paid.
Nice. Yeah. So she sees, you put the rag away and she says, I want you to enjoy yourself, Carol. We stand at the doorstep of freedom. But everyone here is tired from the fight. Everyone needs an opportunity to take a breath, to refresh themselves, to remind each other why we need a voice. That's what I want.
And I think that Curl says, that's understandable. And it makes sense. But we should all still be careful because, as you said, we're at the doorway. And doorways lead both in and out. And then I think he steps away and steps to the other side of Lynn Lanid.
Okay.
And kind of putting himself between Lynn between Riaka and himself. And what does Riaka do whenever he disengages?
She she said what she wanted to say. She's not going to chase you around. She doesn't seem insulted. More like this is the girl that she probably has engaged with before. You're not as curmudgeonly, so she'll take that.
Whenever we get a chance to talk a little bit more privately, like someone else has walked away, Curl's going to quietly say to Lynn, "Do we trust her?"
Has Ryaka left the table?
Yeah, Ryaka's making her way to go talk to Rogan now.
Yeah, I think I until this point, Curl, she's backed us. She's provided for the voices, but times are tough, and I think the path isn't as clear as it once was. I'm not sure I trust anyone, but us, but our cell. This seems a dangerous trap we're playing in at the moment, Curl, and I think we must be ready to go.
We still don't know what happened to Esley and who was responsible for that. So I think that trust is something that should be earned until we find out who was the cause of that.
I agree. And what she said about why we fight, why we search to have a voice, she doesn't understand. It's not the same for them. They fight so they can exchange wealth easily on the backs of people like you, Curl, backs of workers. And I don't think they know the cause or truly care for it like we do. I'm not sure we should rely on them much more.
And I think Curl looks around and says, they have always had a voice. Look at the opulence with which they sing. They do not know what it's like to be quieted by a swift kick from an Empire shock trooper.
You speak it true, Carol. You see it. They don't know what it's like to have a structure imposed upon them. They don't know what it's like to have their life guided rigidly for other purposes. They guide others, and I'm getting sick of it. I don't want to see this anymore. And I think Lynn, I think he wants to start leaving when he kind of gets a moment to gather everyone.
Nice. And I think as you, Lynn, are thinking about gathering folks up, we do a quick shot over to Free Wind, formerly named Nabrina. She now carries around her, sorry for hitting the mic, carries around her neck this like chain. And on the chain is this ring, and she's clipped on, the like Imperial, like those little bars of rank thing, and she's got 4 of them just kind of hanging down like trinkets. And she walks by, and she has a blaster pistol on us. Like no one was going to take it away from her. She would have not come in, and she effectively, Ryaka said, "Yeah, sure, let her in." And then we cut to the front door where Rogan is, and Mana. Sorry, I don't know where I went. Mana, I don't know where that came. Mana Sion and Ryaka Maddox both come up, and Mana says, "Rogan, come to the party." And you smell intoxicants on her breath, see the kind of looseness around her face, little bit of sweat on her brow and around her upper lips, and Ryaka's behind her. "I appreciate what you're doing, Rogan, but this casino does have security."
I believe that security would let people in who may make wrong decisions, make wrong choices. And while I cannot read minds, I can read, well, I'm doing my best. If you want me to leave, I will. but this is how I feel most safe about this gathering. And you can tell that he's really tense and on edge. But he has put a hand on his cousin's shoulder to try to relieve her anxiety a little bit. And you can tell that he really could be swayed to move on. He's just struggling to find a place in an organization that he doesn't understand anymore. It's not the apartment with the paintings like it was when it first started out. Now it's been co-opted, and he doesn't know how to make best of a best move here. Like, what can he do? He's obviously not leadership, so yeah, you get all that in one little scene.
Nice. That's awesome. I think Mana seems to be set on trying to pull you away from the door, and she slides her arm around you and nuzzles against you. It's not like, it's awkward in that she's kind of drunk, but she's not coming on to you. It's just like playful. She's, come on. You're the kind of person who would bring a data pad to read at a party. Just come enjoy the music. Have some drinks. Let your guard down for once. Enjoy this. All of you work so hard. Ryaka says, yes. Rogan, if you feel most comfortable here, you can remain here. But this party is as much for you as anyone else.
Can I see the table with Charlotte and Lynn and Kirill?
Yeah, maybe like look past between the two of them, like you see them kind of framed between the two women who are talking to you.
I think that's the closest thing to a buoy in this sea of strangers that he has, and he heads over to that table and he turns to his sister, and he's actually kind of embarrassed. He's like, what should I order to drink? Like, he's worked in bars for a very long time, but he's not actually paid attention to what you drink in them.
She would rattle off a few, like, well, the Alderani ale here is really good and it's super expensive, but free.
Okay. All right.
So she'll motion over one of the protocol droids and then like pour a little bit of Alderani ale into some glasses for you and your cousin. Do you make your way over to Lynn Lynette and Charlotte with that drink in hand?
I do. Did we want to have a quiet moment roll between the two of them?
Yeah, I think let's circle back to that, because I do think that was a thing that was happening that I missed, because I missed it. Do we want to cue that back up again, or just go ahead and
we could just roll it? I think. Steven, do you wanna roll for us?
Sure. Give me a second.
Quiet moment.
Yeah. Okay. And that's plus bond. And my bond with Lynn Lynette is 0. And I rolled an 8.
Okay, on a 7 to 9, you can pick one.
And that is let's do carry one on going while acting as a team.
Ooh, okay.
Are you hurt?
No, I think we're all actually. You know what? Let me check.
You do have
I
do have one harm. Yeah, so let me heal that one harm.
You have 3 harm though.
Yeah.
Should you heal 1 harm from you?
I don't know that I can do that.
Yeah, I think you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So why don't I heal your harm? You can take the bullet from me whenever I need it.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds agreeable.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, so I think Exactly, Ferret. Thank you. I think seeing, kind of healing that harm mechanically, but I think as speaking with Carol kind of reinforces what Lynn Lynette is feeling about the situation, these people, seeing Rogan kind of getting not turned away, but moved from the door and him looking lost. I think Lynn is going to kind of take this opportunity to try and gather everyone to leave. And he's going to do that by, Carol, let's go get you looked at. It's this party can go on without us. We need to recuperate.
And I think Curl kind of coughs into that cloth that he had and says, okay, I think now's a good time for us to leave. I think he tugs at Charlotte's, arm a little bit while she's at the gambling table, and let's head towards the kitchen, right?
Yes. I'll grab Rogan, and I'll intercept him as he comes back from the bar, and just kind of lean in close and tell him, we are looking to go. We don't necessarily feel comfortable here any longer. You're welcome to stay, of course, Rogan, but I get the sense that you also wish to go this way.
So he's looking at you, Lynn, and he looks back at his cousin, who I'm sure is pleading with her eyes for him to take a break and enjoy things. I think he puts the drink down at where he would sit at the table, and he tells her he'll be right back.
I don't think that's true.
Well, we'll see what happens. Awesome. Maybe the dice will make that happen. So
cool. So you guys head to the kitchen, and you see that there's a Keldor and a number of Rhodians who look like they may be related to each other, and they're in these white uniforms as they cook, and it's just everything is oppressive. It's very super humid. There's all kinds of steam in here, and you hear the sizzle of the grill, and there's one of them that's like his huge Rhodian eyes and his little proboscis mouth, and he's just kind of creme brulee, frying a little bit of thing with this little torch thing, and then quickly giving it over to a beautiful Togruta girl who whips it up onto a tray and hustles it out there, and you guys are effectively ignored. They're not going to say get out of the kitchen at this point. Either they've been warned or they don't really care, as long as you don't get in their way. So the four of you end up in the kitchen right now. What do you do?
I think once we're in the kitchen, Lynn at least feels a little bit more comfortable to speak freely. So Charlotte, you came with us, right? Am I understanding that right? Okay. He's just going to kind of as they're moving through these passageways and stuff like that, looking for an exit, he's gonna just I'm sorry to ruin the good fun, Charlotte. Curl and I felt strongly that we weren't there for the right reasons. It felt like they were putting us as a prize. It was like they wanted to show us off, and it might just be that they wanted to show off their influential friends, but it could also have been a trap. And I don't know the path. I don't see it clearly at the moment. But I don't think the Ebon Diamond holds for us what it wishes to hold for itself.
You were wise as usual. I was not having fun as much as killing time. And playing cards with people with more money than common sense is not my idea of a fun time. Being with my comrades, being with my friends, and showing off that we have been successful was, but I'm not there to be someone's precious sow on a pedestal.
Nice. So,
and Rogan, I'm sorry that we pulled you away from your family. I know that this experience that we are all walking together has been tough and has drawn us away from where we thought we belonged. But yeah, I got a bad feeling. I had a bad feeling about it.
And so Morgan takes this moment to say, I don't think my uncomfortableness started here tonight. I think it started with the mission with Isan. And I want to put it to all of you. Are we on the right path with the way we're not defending ourselves at a protest anymore? We're striking out with, hidden guns and machinations. Who are we even fighting at this point? When's the last time anyone brought up Pestage? We're distracted, and I feel like we have one opportunity left to get back on course before this entire organization is tempted to go a different direction.
Seem to be worried that we have been fighting a system in the way that the system's own rules relegate us to doing so. We have had to use this system against itself. It is too massive, too daunting to take on without playing with some of its rules. We may not have been on task as you would have thought, but I believe we are on the right path. I believe this is the correct course of action. It just may not be, would never have been a bloodless course of action.
Relgan, you are being brutally honest with us, and I appreciate that. And when we get out of here and we get somewhere quiet, I will meditate on the question you posed about the path.
Can someone at least tell me what we're doing here tonight? But I guess there's a move.
Let's hit that move and then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, before we slide past it again, and thank you, Cody, for perfectly nestling in move names. Good stuff.
Yeah. So when you say something painfully honest to a fellow comrade, it counts as sharing a quiet moment. Add 1 to the roll. And sharing a quiet moment requires bond. I'm talking to everybody. But I think I was talking about paths, and that was more Lynid than it was anybody else. So that would give me a +4.
Wow, that's the max you can have.
And let's see here. Brutally honest. Oh, we lost somebody. Got an 11. Yeah.
Nice. So on share a quiet moment with a 10+, you get to pick 2 from the list. Carry 1 ongoing, add 1 to bond, heal 1 harm.
Huh.
If you add a bond over 3, it doesn't go to 4, right? It reverts to 0 and you gain experience.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly right.
1 at a +4 and 0.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. +4 reverse back to 1. -3 will go to 0. Sorry.
Got it.
But I guess I get to mark experience if I do that. Oh, I've got 5 experience marked.
Yeah, we all got a ton in the last end of session rolls. So
crazy amount of experience.
I was able to grab a new advance. I just increased my body just saying it right now, just so you guys know.
Good call.
Yeah.
Body to 0.
Yeah, I think I'll do spirit to 0 real quick so I can use up all of these XP. Because I'm being very spirited.
You are. You're spiritual.
Okay, and then I will up. Yeah, I mean the fiction says that this is with Lynn, so all right, +1 it is, and I'll mark experience. And then I get to choose a second one. I don't have any harm to heal.
Right.
And neither does Lynn. Curl still does. Does that count? Can I like heal one of his harm?
I think if you want to shift the fiction, we'll go ahead and let you shift the fiction to where you now are kind of bonding with Carol and trying to help him with his wounds.
Well, let me say something to kind of support that a little bit. So I think whenever with your speech and said kind of what are we doing here, Curl looks up at you and says, the work is not done. It might feel that way. And those in the other room are celebrating, but we still have a heavy load on us. Pestage is still in charge and will strike against us or will strike against the cause. And we must let everyone know, not just Pestage, but also those in the other room, that everyone should have a voice, not just them.
I just feel like we're playing into his hands, but we're not done. You're right, Carol. We're not done. All right, and I'll heal one of Carol's harms.
Sweet. Thank you for asking that and making it happen. I think that's really cool.
Can I take over the fiction for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to turn to Charlotte, and I'm going to. Curl says, "I think it's time that we talked. I think it's time that we showed them our little secret, and talked to the new voice. And I would like to head back towards our little hideout, and say that in Charlotte's like little droid area that she had, where I'd been working, we have tried to set up another radio station. And, you know, talking through with the other two, I think we say, I think it's important that the voiceless have a voice. And with Esley's quieting, I think that we still need a representation. And what better representation of the voice than one who has been silenced before? I think that we should talk to Kali about getting him to send out more broadcasts like Esley used to do. And I think Charlotte and I had been working on this, but hadn't told anyone else about it until we felt like this radio station would actually work. So we haven't told Ryaka or anyone like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Are you okay with that?
I love it. You guys are good? Okay. That's sweet. That's really, really cool. So Lynn Lanid, when you see this radio, this radio station, what's your reaction?
I think Lynn's eyes light up, and he says he looks at Curl and Char and says, "You two made this. You built this together. You light your own path now. This is wonderful, wonderful. I wonder, and this is just a thought, and I don't know that it's the right one, but should we only have one voice for the voiceless, or should there be more?"
I think this is when Charlotte's like artist gang is like, So, we see like the men in the background, like some of them like writing things down. Like, the ones that don't have the speaking voice writing their words, they can one on the air. The ones that do have the speaking voice, like some like gargling with salt water or something, to, like prepare to be on the radio. And Charlotte gives that creepy Gamorrean grin that I think like even Lynn knows is not threatening, but most people wouldn't. You speak wise. You speak in ways that I agree with as usual. I think this is a grand plan. I have set up before the broadcast came in spurts. We can make this an around the clock thing.
Yeah, Lynn. Lynn nods, and I look to Rogan specifically, and I say, I think it's important for the voiceless to hear from those who have had doubts. Do with that what you will. I must go meditate on the question that you asked us about the path. But this is all very exciting, and this path that we are choosing to illuminate before us is a powerful one. And the idea of a 24, 25 standard hours propaganda radio station sure sounds great. All right, I'm going about my business now. And yeah, Lynn's gonna go off into a little cubby and think on the path.
Nice.
And I think that Curl walks over to Rogan and kind of puts his hand in his still physical hand in Rogan's and says, this is what we fight for.
That's sweet. That's really cool. Thank you for that. Sweet. So I think you were trying to trigger radical faith for Lynn Lynid. Is that right?
Yes, it is. So when you take a moment to meditate on a question and relay this tenet, your deity will provide an answer through the GM. So my central tenet is mystery, which is a little interesting. I guess the question that I meditate on is the one that Rogan gave me. It's, have we lost the path by getting caught up with this, this casino full of socialites and stuff like that? Were we missing the option that we saw that was the true one, the right one, which was getting to Sage Personage? That was the cause from the beginning, and we took some detours. And I think I think that's so mystery deity, as I speak to you. Are we walking the path? Should I follow the path as it is being laid before me, or must I strike out and pathfind again?
And you see a vision of your group and other members of the voiceless around you, and you're on this long straight path that splits to two destinations. One is one's a pathway that you see rises up, and there are people standing along either side of the path ready to join it if only someone would take the first step towards it. But you also realize that, like a surging wave, you could only ride it forward, that once you step onto that path, there is no turning back, there's no questioning. It is a straight shot towards crashing along the shore and remaking the sand as tides would do. The other pathway that you see is littered with bodies. The bodies of stormtroopers, the bodies of Imperials, the bodies of friends, the bodies of people who were swept up in the revolution. And then you look to Riaka, you look to many of the folks that you saw at the casino tonight, and they're walking in place along the path. not taking either end point, not making any choice whatsoever, just miming the pathway, just looking as if they're part of the cause, but taking no definitive, dangerous action to move forward.
All right. Yep. Cool. With that, I think it's pretty clear which way Lynn. It's clear which way is the right way, and I think Lynn is reaffirmed by his choice to flee the casino, and you know, when he's done meditating, he's gonna go to Rogan first and talk to him about the vision he experienced. And I think he's going to go to each person in turn and kind of one-on-one lay out the vision as he saw it. But he's only going to give them the one. He's going to tell them that he saw, you know, whether you believe in his powers or not, that he saw the path in front of them, that there is a wave coming, and that people are standing ready to join the wave when it comes. But those people that I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Riaka, those wealthy benefactors who supported us in the past, have no cause and no purpose in joining that wave. They are just happy to stand by and watch it go, and we should not rely on them to guide us in any meaningful way. But that seeing this wave crash upon the beach, and it will remake the shores of the future, that speaks to me, and that tells me that the time is nigh when we can gather the masses and raise the people into an uprising to seize that power, to attack the shore, and not inflict, but with their own two hands, remake their own path, or 4 hands, or 6 hands. The galaxy is big and is not human-centric. So that's what he'll tell each of them in turn in some variation.
I kind of like the idea of maybe he presents this to all of them at one point, just because I really want to see the juxtaposition of different reactions. Is that okay, Cody?
Sure.
Even though it's probably smarter for Lynn to do it on a small thing, kind of the idea of proselytizing his vision.
Mostly, I think it was. So if that's the way, I think he wanted to go to Rogan first because Rogan specifically expressed these doubts and asked him about it.
And Rogan to have to defend. Okay.
But after that, I think Lynn's happy to then announce it to everyone in the room who's working on this. But he gives that first, just because I think Lynn sees in Rogan someone who's feeling lost, and anyone who feels lost needs somebody to find the path with them, and that's what he wants to do with Rogan. So
then let's drop into the moment of Rogan hearing this. What is Rogan's reaction to Lynn's vision?
I don't know the mysteries of the universe, so I can't say without a doubt that you've contemplated your own answer or were given a vision. So please understand that at this moment, I believe that you had a vision, which, as an aside, I think is different from where Rogan started out this thing. But it doesn't sound like your vision told you how it all ends.
if I'm honest, Rogan, I'm not sure my visions can. I can tell you that if I am brutally honest, as you so often are with us, I saw 2 visions. I saw 2 pathways that we could walk. And one of those was what you feared. It was a pathway littered in blood and bodies, imperial citizenry alike, And I'm not sure that that would get us where it is we wish to go. But I did also see this path. And while I can't see what we remake the shore as into, I can just see that that is the one that I wish to walk.
Let's present this together. Let's tell them about the path available to us. And we won't confuse the issue with the other path, because I think everybody knows instinctively what the other path is. I think we've all stepped on the bodies of others to get where we are right now. But let's present this and see if we can't take that turn and make this what we've always wanted it to be.
This is a wise action, and I think it is the just course that we walk now.
I will let you speak. This is your vision, but I will stand beside you.
Lynn puts his hand on Rogan's shoulder. He says, I may have had a vision, but it is our vision of the future.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Dang, that's definitely a moment of connection right there. That is.
So yeah, and then Lynn kind of does another version, but probably way better thought out and like really nails it. No flubbing words, no stumbling over sentences. He does a good job, I think.
I think so, and that's okay. Like my mind's eye heard all of that with great clarity.
So I'm going to be recording this presentation.
Secretly, or do you like?
Oh no, I think it's pretty obvious that I'm recording it.
Cool.
The point being is that we're gonna start playing it on the radio stations.
Oh, nice. I like that a lot. Did we want to step back with Lynn and Rogan? Because it felt like that this is our path was definitely sharing an intimate moment.
I don't think it's necessarily because we just, well, I guess there's still a roll there. All right, yeah, I'll roll it. I was gonna say because we already have the one ongoing option and stuff like that, but why not? Let's see.
I understand. Don't worry.
Here we go. I'll hit it real fast. Rogan is 2, and I think knowing that Rogan's kind of recording it and it's kind of obvious, I think if assuming that Lynn may notice, I got a 6. I failed the quiet moment with Rogan. Oh, excuse me.
That's interesting.
Excuse me. I get a +1 ongoing as a team with him, so I'd make it a 7, right?
Perfect. Okay.
All right.
Here we go.
And then so for my one option, I'll just choose to increase my bond with him up to a 3.
Sweet. So sorry, because it's a mixed. I'm sorry. I'm really like I have this idea. Do you say this like this is our vision, and then outside of the apartment you hear a crack of thunder, and then rain begins. Now in Coruscant, like weather patterns are controlled, right? So just to make sure that this feels like happenstance, but also when it rains, someone pushed a button to make it rain.
Yeah. Someone doesn't want people out on the streets tonight, and that's not going to happen. I think so. When Lynn's giving his speech about his vision, he's going to rely on that. He's going to talk about the fact that the water is coming down from the sky. That is, that is symbolic of the wave that we mean to create, whether they know it or not. But as soon as he sees that Rogan's recording it or is doing something, Lynn, I think, wants to go to everyone in the party in turn and kind of bring them into it. He wants to encourage Charlotte to speak. He wants to encourage Curl to speak to what what Winosa means to them, and how this cause is not one singular person's voice guiding a mass. It is the masses speaking for themselves. That's the move for him.
Does anyone want to start something here? It feels like a good situational setup for that move.
for the zealotry level 5 move? Is that what you're talking
Well,
about?
we got two options here, right? There's a basic move of start something rolling with spirit. It's a roll. And then we have level 5 of zealotry. You may call for a popular uprising and attempt to seize power by flooding the streets with your supporters. So I think the two kind of hand in glove. And I'll be honest with you, the book, from what I've read, is not incredibly clear how to make that go.
So I have an idea. And tell me if mechanically I'm going to say what I think goes on. I think I have a speech that Curl could give over the radio, and then I could roll a sway supported by or helped by Lin Linid's video and words to sway the people to come out into the streets and rise up against everyone.
I like that. So it's like maybe we start. So I'll do, since I did this for, maybe I do the start something roll, and then Curl, you do a sway roll. Like you kind of add these moves together to see what we end up with. Is that?
I like that.
Okay. The only concern I have about the start something by itself is that seems like more of a fight that doesn't fit in with Lin's vision that he's kind of choosing towards.
Start something, actually, it's when you try to provoke a crowd to strike, demonstrate, riot, or brawl, roll a spirit. Yep. And you can choose for it to be large, peaceful, and heed your instructions. So I think it's like it can fail and it gets out of hand, but it seems like the core of the move is to actually to get a crowd of people to start acting.
That's perfect. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So should I roll for the start something, Rich?
I think so. They're using your voice and your words to broadcast over the radio. It really feels like you're the one who's provoking right now.
Okay, I will roll. So I have a +2 for spirit. Does the ongoing with the party, does that apply now? Probably not, I suppose, because this is...
You're working as a team.
Yeah,
I think it fulfills the requirements of the +1 ongoing, so yeah.
All right, so...
I mean, I don't want to give you advantages. I really want this to fail because wait, no, I'm neutral.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want, Rich. We know that you want this to roll. All right, 2d6 + 3... 14.
Holy crap!
We needed a 15. We needed a 15.
We needed it higher.
Goodness, you jealous bastards.
So with that, it goes the way you want at first anyway. So I think it's going to, of these options, it's got to be large. It's going to be peaceful, and the mob heeds the instructions that we're kind of like, we're going towards, we're marching. Everyone's marching on the building, I guess. The Capitol building, the city center, the Senate building, wherever it is. I don't know all those details, but so far so good.
Palace is the home to the extended imperial family that where Sate Pestage the vizier has taken place. So people take to the streets. It goes over this brand new radio station. People who had maybe dialed away from Esley's particular radio band, they're told by friends, by fellow compatriots, by long-suffering co-workers, and they tune in, and then in the rain, hundreds and then thousands, tens of thousands of Coruscanti people take to the streets, and it's heady. Realizing what you've done, seeing all the faces, all the strangers, all the fellow comrades, revolutionaries, rising up and marching towards the palace. And ahead, as all of you are moving through the rain, thunder rumbles again, and the rain picks up, and you see APCs, you see an ATST, you see another ATST as they are moving quickly from the palace towards the hastily erected fences that have been placed around the palace itself to protect the Vizier. And then as you get close enough to hear the loudspeakers,
fellow citizens of Coruscant, this is your Vizier. This is an unlawful action. This has not been authorized. Please do not force us to put down this senseless riot.
and then coming closer, and people are lining up at the fence, and you hear the low hum. The fence is electrified. There are a pair of ATSTs just loaded up behind it. They're huge turbo lasers aimed at people. There are stormtroopers behind the fences, their blaster rifles up. And people start looking to you, Lynn. This is him. He's the one. He's the one from the radio. You hear.
Lynn's his timid nature takes over a bit, and he I think he kind of brings his cell closer, up together, and I think he looks to Charlotte and he says, "They may think I am the leader, but that is just because they've heard my voice. Speak to them, and I will translate for you."
And I think this is a perfect time for me to use the new move I got last time. St. Crispin's Day.
Oh my.
And I think Charlotte stands before the crowd. Before I joined the Voiceless, I had no voice. I had to augment my vocal cords to be able to speak to you as I am today. It was painful, it was terrifying, but it was worth it. Having no voice is not something anyone should go through life as. We are people. We are not rioting, we are protesting, and yet they still clamor to take us down. We are more than they, not just in number, but in spirit, and we shall crush them and make them see that their ways do not benefit the people, that the people benefit the people. Wanosa. I'm going to roll with mind for that.
Okay, roll with mind.
Let me see. Doot. And let's doot.
And there's some really cool benefits from this move. I love this move. It's really cool.
Ooh, it's 13.
Holy crap. Oh man, you guys are awesome. Okay, so on a 10 plus, each comrade can disregard one harm taken in the coming encounter. That is pretty darn powerful. I love it. And people start to surge forward, and we see the electric fence start to light up as a few people reach out and they like touch it with wearing gloves, trying to touch it, try to get it to short out. And then Rogan, you see Free Wind. She's come up beside you, and she's wearing this bandolier of thermal detonators. She like flips it to where it's like she's holding it in her hands.
And I say to her, hold on for just a moment. And I take my augmented shock bat, which now has exposed circuitry, and I'm going to plunge it into the gate and short circuit the entire electrical part. So
take a risk. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah. All right.
You raised your spirit, didn't you?
Yeah, take a risk. Rolled spirit. Okay. That's a flat 0.
What's he doing with that bat?
Well, do I get a +1 ongoing with acting as a team?
I think so.
Okay. I rolled a 6, everybody that's watching out in the ether.
But you're acting as a team. I think we'll see how this goes, though. So you 7 to 9, your risk pays off, kind of. I think that you get to ignore 1 harm. Means that you only take 1 harm as you take a shock, but everything starts to flicker along the fence, and then it drops, and the stormtroopers look to each other as the electric fence is disabled, probably temporarily, and it's just like a shot went off, and people surge forward with this opportunity, and they start climbing the fence, and the stormtroopers start firing, and Druck just went a little crazy. Curl, you see people are trying to scale that fence. They're trying to force their way in, and the stormtroopers shoot the first wave of folks that crest the fence, but they keep coming. It's starting to get out of hand. What do you do, Carol?
I think Curl is going to step forward and look at Lin Lanid, and then I think he pulls like a transmitter out of his bag and starts to talk over the loudspeaker. And he says, fellow voiceless, those of you who are attacking the guards firing upon us, remember they are like us. They are voiceless minions being given charge by someone else, being given direction by someone else. Those of you who are in armor and firing upon the people must consider why you're doing what you're doing, and consider what you must do with your voice. What will you do?
Wow. Are you trying to sway these troopers?
I can either use sway or plain spoken.
Oh yeah, plain spoken sounds.
Plain spoken isn't really an action. It's just I ask a question. What are you going to do with your voice? And they respond. I think sway's more appropriate here.
Yeah, because I think I like the setup for plain spoken, but I think you are trying to indicate like there is another choice here. Think about what you're doing, and I really
there's
like
an
that.
action to take here. Yeah,
right.
I do think Code Switcher comes in with this too, though.
Oh yeah, when you blend seamlessly with the rich, the poor, and everyone in between. Add one to sneak.
To sneak. All right, never mind.
Yeah.
I thought I thought it was just gonna be a +1, and it's just like you're speaking to everybody in a way that they would understand it. Is what I was trying to think about. But
I have something else in that speech. I say, those of you who are listening over the broadcast, share this with your neighbors. Take your speakers, turn everything on, aim it out your window so that everyone hears, and everybody turn to this channel so that they see the truth and they see the voiceless speaking.
Oh, nice.
And I'm going to roll that. Let's see how bad it could be. What is sway is with guile?
You're pretty guileful.
I'm good at guile. I rolled an 8 plus 2 is 10.
Wow. Oh man, this is on 10. They ask something small in return. Yeah. So it's
we don't want to die for you.
And you see there's like a small little squad of the troopers who've been clustered near each other. They weren't right up against the wall, and a couple of them dropped their blaster rifles. And what they're asking is like, okay, don't kill us. Like, let us get out of here.
And I think Curl steps up to Freewind, and she's holding this bandolier of thermal detonators, and he
Mhm.
reaches up and takes the bandolier, and the little red lights, he does something, and they start to switch off.
Nice.
And then he steps up to the next person, who's standing there with a blaster pistol, and he kind of reaches up with that mechanical arm and lowers the blaster pistol and says, again on broadcast, think about what has happened here today and consider the voice that each of us can have and how much it carries if we all speak together. And then urges everyone to continue on past the fence, past the guards.
Sweet. And they do, like, the one fenced area that could be pushed open gets shoved open. The chains are broken. People with crowbars and pickaxes and blasters are firing that open. And these stormtroopers, they remove their helmets, right, trying to disassociate themselves from the faceless regime, and they start teaming like minnows, or not. No, is it minnows that swim upstream? Crap, anyway, like fish swimming up a stream, and
Salmon.
someone can insert in. Is it salmon? It's salmon. As soon as I said minnows, I was like, no, that's not right. Salmon swimming upstream, and you see these like little dots of white from above, right, through the raindrops. They're making them eels swimming upstream. Not as sexy a phrase, but they do. So yeah, they're making their way out. They're getting out. And we see that I kind of imagine that one of the ATST starts walking away while another one fires on the populace, and there are explosions. And I'm curious, like, this ATST evidently got orders and thinks they are protected well enough. Rogan, this is not going to go well if this ATST, people are starting to break. The crowd is seeing folks get blasted by giant turbo lasers. What are you doing, Rogan?
I grabbed Free Wind, and I grab a couple of other people, and we're going to take cables, and we're going to climb to the top of the ATST and plant these thermal detonators.
Roll with body.
Okay.
I'd like to assist with that.
Oh, yeah,
I need to roll that
sounds great.
beforehand.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, so and I think the way that this looks is whenever we see, Curl is just given this rousing speech saying, lay down your arms, we won't harm you, and we see the ATST starting to fire on the populace. And I think we see this swarm of people start to swarm around the ATST, and Curl goes up and starts working on the legs, with a
Nice.
tool. And I rolled an 8, and with Rogan, I have a 1, so that's a 9. So I think that's a +1.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you're, I'm getting rough, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right, so that's a total modifier of a 3, unless we get the +1 from working together as a team.
We are literally working together as a team.
There's just so many bonuses flying around.
I know.
Got that 15.
What is this die roller doing? The second 11 I've seen roll on it. It really wants this revolution to go pretty well for you guys.
We're not gonna. I really want to see the Cradle of Dying combat.
I know, but if you keep rolling 15s, what am I supposed to do? Beaker is so excited by this revolution, guys. He's also a little tired. All right, so sweet. Yeah, you clamber up on top, and I think there's a moment maybe where like Rogan reaches up, but his hand slips on the rain slick upper handhold, and Free Wind like grabs your hand and pulls you up, and then the two of you get up and you reach the top before she does. And yeah, you take out. I mean, what do you do to this ATST?
So what we do is we blow the hatch. and we point, blasters at them and give them that one last chance.
Oh yeah, then you get shot. Awesome, because their one last chance is to shoot you. So you get shot by offering them the possibility of mercy. These guys are pretty zealous, and you're gonna eat. It's not gonna go well for you. If I remember correctly, the harm from a blaster is 3.
No. When it's at close range, it's a 4.
Oh, well, 3 or 4 does take you down. So
Right. Well, even with
Yeah.
I take a -1 harm,
true.
but yeah, no matter what that -1 happens to be on a 3 or a 4,
There we
that's
go.
that's it. That's
Offering them a choice, offering them a chance. And it's a thing where you get shot, and we see like the boo boo, the blasters, the red blasters, and Rogan falls down into the mud, and that's when Freewind just drops the rest of the thermal detonators in there, and she jumps as the and the ATST falls down. People are moving out of the way, and it splashes into the mud. But you see Rogan is lying there. He got shot in the chest twice. He is dying.
So Curl will run over. He was at the base of the ATST, and I
Yep.
think all we see left of the ATST is like from the knees down, right? And where that explosion went off, I think Free Wind has jumped and jumped clear, but the pressure pushed all the people, including Curl, down into the mud. And Curl kind of looks up and he sees Rogan in the flat over there and not moving. And Curl kind of starts to mud crawl over to where Rogan is, and he looks up and he sees a couple of blaster wounds, and puts his hand and then his claw, his droid arm over them, and then says, Rogan, your voice isn't complete. It's not done yet. Stay with us. And he starts digging through his pouch looking for something maybe to help. And I roll the cradle a dying comrade.
You are cradling a dying comrade. You'll be rolling with your bond. I think your bond is 1 with Rogan.
Yes. Okay.
7 to 9, Rogan will die, but you hear his last words.
If I had a mobile camera, I would show you the roll.
You.
I rolled a 5 and a 6, so I rolled an 11.
Of course, 11s are this game.
That's right.
That's amazing. So on a 10 plus, they live barely. Add 1 to bond.
And just because I kind of like to hear what Rogan has to say.
Yeah.
Because the 7 to 9 is, you hear their last words. I kind of want to hear what that is.
Yeah. What does Rogan say when your voice has not been silenced yet?
I don't think he knows yet if he's going to live or die, so that he feels like these are his dying words. Yeah. People have to have a choice. Taking away their choice is taking away their freedom. I gave them a choice, and their souls are stained. But the choice was given nonetheless.
And I think at that's when Curl hits him in the neck with like a syringe looking thing. And we see the little blue liquid gurgle as it gets, as it drains. And then he jabs it back out. Yeah.
I think I'm unconscious at this point, though. You're muted, Rich.
Yeah, that feels good. Sorry. I think you're unconscious, and I think that's where we'll go ahead and take our mid-game break. So we're 10:35 my time, so 35 after. That's why I try to say it. Let's meet back. Just take 10 minutes. We'll meet back at quarter till, and you guys will be storming the palace. Literally, I've never had anyone storm a palace in any game I've ever run. This is a moment for me. I love it. It's like killing the dragon moment. You're storming the palace. It's great. See you guys in 10.
All righty.
Test 1 2. Can you guys hear me? Sorry. Sorry. This happened to me last night. Hopefully it does not continue. Hope everybody enjoyed your break. Mine was good until it became stressful. But now I'm here. Yay. I'm back. Still
Did you have a problem with your audio coming back?
The last night, yeah, when I came back, it would like my mic wouldn't work, so that's good. Cool. Welcome back. All right. Whew, that was terrifying. But it's fixed. Internet is here, and I love you, Internet. Please don't go down on me again, Internet. You're good. I noticed you got your hair cut, Internet. It looks good. Internet, please stay. Don't leave me. Yeah, I think Lynn and Charlotte, I'm really curious. So Carol and Rogan, they had this moment, but I'm kind of imagining that maybe that was a moment that, as much as you would have wanted to, there's just so much going on. The teeming masses, people surging forward, the wave, Lynn, that you saw in your vision. Sorry, speakers. Okay, nope. Anyway, so what do you do? I'm imagining Lynn, like people are surging, they're running. There's like this wide open space. This is Coruscant, right? But this is a grassy yard in front of the palace, between the fences and that long pathway up to the palace itself. And people are just running along the grass. For some of them, they've never run on grass before, right? The only time they see it is in perfectly manicured parks or on holovids. But Lynn, you're relatively familiar with this. You're a well-traveled, gentle being. What are you doing? As you see, people are like, they're going into the palace. They are storming this carking thing.
I think at this point, Lynn's you're recognizing that his vision is kind of reaching its limits. Where here it is, we're crashing on that shore. What happens now is unknown. And so I think Lynn wants to encourage Charlotte to we need to go faster. We need to be there. Someone needs to lead them, Charlotte. You need to be there when people break in. You need to be there. And yeah.
Nice. What's Charlotte do?
I think that this is a good start, and I don't know if I should keep this as a trump card or not, but I think that with all that art that she's been selling and handing out for the revolution, that there are explosives in it, since we have mayhem up at level 5. And I mean, if those people were walking and not helping with the revolution, well, I think I don't know if the Pestage would have one of the art pieces in his place too, so I think I'll hold on to this for the moment. But I think Charlotte begins turns on the radio, begins begins broadcasting from it, and just begins reciting her poetry and different styles of rousing speeches. And I think I'm going to use Fight Song on Free.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So who you're trying to inspire a comrade in a dangerous situation? Are you trying to inspire Lynn here?
No, I think I'm doing this at Free Wind.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, I don't have bond with her, so I have to roll with it. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I think I will do this with Lynn. So let's roll that bond. So
another 11.
Nope, just a 10.
Boring. 10s. Ha!
So Lynn will, in this situation, they take less harm and they gain speed.
Wasn't this for Free Wind, you said?
I don't have
What?
bond with her, so I can't.
Yeah, you have to roll bond.
Oh.
And actually, I think it says they pick 2 from the list and carry
Oh.
the bonuses.
Let me see.
It's on row.
Yeah, they pick 2.
Yeah.
So you can deal more harm, take less harm, or gain speed.
Am I muted?
No, you're unmuted.
Okay. I was looking at the window, the move, and then I was like, oh, I'm probably talking to the ether. I think Lynn wants to take less harm and go faster. Real quick, Char, does Lynn know that you're putting bombs in all of your paintings and stuff? Or is this something you...
If anyone would know, it would be Lynn.
Oh, okay. Then yes, Lynn's trying to go faster to try and keep the wave under his control, I guess. Lynn perhaps recognized that thought crossed Charlotte's mind of blowing everything up. And
yeah, I think he saw her like pulling out the detonator, then like putting the cap back on and putting it back in her pocket.
Yeah.
God, that's terrifying. We cut to the casino where some of the rich people are still there, and Ryaka's looking at this beautiful painting with Charlotte's scrawled signature on it. And they're just getting word at what's going on at the gates. Yeah, and we don't know exactly how Ryaka is reacting to that. So we cut back to Lynn.
1 second. 1 second.
Yes.
I just wanted to maybe a tiny detail, if this is okay with you, Ferret. You were raised by droids, right? So I'm betting your signature is droid perfect.
Oh, definitely. It's like perfect calligraphy.
The nanny bot's like, no, again.
Now
Just
with your left.
Just the idea of it being scrawled, just kind of like, I was like, no.
No,
it's
I like that.
be
I like that
perfect.
better.
Yeah.
That's way cooler. Thank you. And I'm imagining, right, that maybe there's some kind of Nabooan influences here because Chief Palpatine is from Naboo. So if you remember the palace for Amidala in the prequels, if you don't, I mean, I know Cody's with me, but like somebody else is like, I don't exactly remember it. It's very like it feels very like French palace to me, very huge space opera, open spaces, all that good stuff. And Lynn, you make it up to the large entrance doors along with several others, and Freewind is with you. Charlotte will catch up very quickly, and there are people that are like, oh, let's blow it down, let's blow it down. Rain's still coming down hard, lightning's flashing. You know, on the other side of this door, there are probably some of the planet's most elite death troopers. This first wave is going to get slaughtered if they go through that door. You feel
Yeah.
it, Lynn.
Yeah. I think is Freewind's here? Does she have all of those thermal detonators still? Like she has her bandolier. Oh no!
On the ATST.
No. Okay. I have a move for this. I took the move MacGyver.
Oh,
to build a
you
bomb,
need to
improvise a
improvise
weapon, or set a trap.
Yes.
I think Lynn is going to try and make a bomb. I think he's going to look with what's available to him. And he's going to try and improvise an explosive of some sort. I think knowing that, yes, you know, on the other side of these blast doors are elite death troopers. They didn't throw down their weapons. They didn't come out. If, you know, that's the only way to turn the tide here is to give the wave some force. So he's going to try and make a bomb real fast.
All right.
As he tries to figure out what to do. Okay, so just roll 2d6, no modifier.
You're rolling with mind, and your mind is 0.
Oh, is it no?
Mind to 1. You roll with mind.
I didn't realize I was rolling with mine. My bad.
That's okay.
No, it's not okay. I should know my rules better.
It's all good. I forgive you.
All right. Okay. 6. All right, I got a 6. So I failed entirely in building a bomb. So I'll let you decide what happens there, huh, Rich?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you do build a bomb. But you don't realize that it's not a shaped charge. You're in such a hurry, and you slap it to the door and move back to that safe distance. You're going through all the stuff, and it's like your mind's whirring, and at the last second you realize, oh, I didn't shape the boom, and the doors explode, splinters fly everywhere, cutting one person in half. The explosion spills out into the way, and you're gonna take 3 harm. You're blown back. Oh, Charlotte.
No, he takes 1 harm because he takes fewer harm and St. Crispin's Day.
Ha ha! You take 1 harm. This should have killed you. And you're laying there. Your ears. Drows have ears, right? I think they don't. Like they have little holes. Like your holes.
There's hearing organs somewhere.
Ringing. Yeah, ears are ringing, and you look over and you see Freewind, and there's blood at her mouth, and she looks dazed. And that's when you look down and you see that there's this doorknob sticking through her.
We should ask permission to have gruesome.
I'm so sorry. So it doesn't look good. Thank you, Mark. I apologize.
Lynn is going to army crawl over towards her, and he's going to try and healing touch. But it says comrade. I don't know if I can do it to her. So but he's going to try to use his healing powers that he seems to have.
I think so. I think it can work. You guys okay if it works, or it has an opportunity?
Yeah. So yeah, Lynn crawls over, and he, his ears are ringing, so he can't hear her. So he's yelling. He says, hold on. I'll try. I hold on. I didn't know. And he's just going to roll 2d6. And he gets a 10.
Wow.
On a 10, they heal 1 harm, and it appears miraculous.
Oh, man. Charlotte, you come up upon this, and you see Lynn's magic working to heal and bring Freewind back from the doorstep of death. What does Charlotte do when you witness this miracle?
Smile knowingly.
Nice.
I think she will leave. Lynn has opened the way for her. She can deal with Passage now if the others are catching up.
So, Curl, the populace is unfettered. The revolutionaries are charging towards the palace. Rogan lost consciousness. What are you doing?
So I think I call for a medic. And as soon as the medic is there with Rogan, I'm going to head in with the masses.
It's Collie. It's got to be Collie.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I call for Collie specifically.
Nice.
And say, come in. Rogan's down, and I'm, as soon as Collie comes in, I'm going to head off with the masses. And I think I'm several steps behind. I'm a good distance behind Lynn and Charlotte, and so I'm like a floor or 2 down whenever I hear the explosion, and everybody starts screaming, and I'm going to tell them, it's okay, calm down, this was expected. There's going to be loud noises, grab whatever you can as a weapon. And I think we all stop and we listen, and there's this eerie silence as we hear creaking and that kind of stuff, and then we surge again, So I'll come in after, after Charlotte has seen this miraculous healing. Oh, and
you
Curl,
miss it. Oh,
I completely miss it. And Curl even comes up and turns to Freewind and says, "It's time to get up and do our job." A little bit rude.
nice. And she meets your eyes, but then her eyes fix on you, Linlinid, and she just reaches up and grabs you by the back of the head and plants a kiss on you. It may not be romance, guys. We'll check in on that, but she's gonna kiss you.
Yeah, that's fine. I think Lynn's too shook to like even understand what's happening. He's having a rough go of it right now.
Nice.
And Curl sees the kiss and just kind of.
That's great. So we cut to Rogan in. When you go unconscious, what is it that you see in this weird dreamscape, this liminal space that you exist in?
I think that Rogan is imagining that he is in the same room with Pestage. And he's seen plenty of holograms and videos of what Pestage looks like and sounds like. So like his mental image is pretty accurate. If this were a TV show, people would be like, finally the actor gets to be on screen, kind of thing. Right.
Who do we stunt cast? Who's our? No, I don't know if you do actors, so it's okay.
Yeah. What's his name? The guy that played. Well, this is not his best role. He was in Silence of the Lambs. So I was going to say the guy that played Odin.
Oh, Anthony Hopkins?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. I love our stunt casting. Good call.
And I think like he's just struggling not to leap on the guy and strangle him. Because that's no longer who Rogan is, but like he hears people like telling him to do it, and when he looks back, it's like in a dream state, right? So he knows that all of those people are him, even though they're not him, and I think that's just it. He's like stuck between the crowd calling for the death of Pestage and Pestage just standing there with open arms waiting for him to do something.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. You finally wake to the feel of the raindrops hitting your face and remember slowly where you are. It hurts. That's the first thing that comes to mind. You're alive is the next thing that pain reminds you of, and you look up to the caring face of melancholy, and he brushes something off of the side of your face and looks down at you. And then you realize that he's like injected you with a little Bacta. Can you hear me?
I don't think he says anything. I think he just tries to nod, which is probably not a good idea. So he just croaks out a yes.
I want to help you up. I want you to witness this.
And Rogan does his best to stand up.
And Kali does everything he can to help you, to take your weight, to give you someone to lean on. But he seems pretty determined, even if it means ignoring some of your grunts of pain, to help you. And the two of you start walking up the incline across the grass towards the splinters that were the doors that entered the palace. So eventually, Lynn and Charlotte, Free Wind does stop kissing Lynn, and you guys follow after Kirill. Kirill, where are you leading them? You see that there's a harried fight finishing at the end of the hallway. Many people fell to the death troopers, but eventually they were overcome, this first little group.
I think as we walk, kind of,
They were told to guard the doors and waited and waited.
I think a
Hunted
little bit
down.
as a,
You do.
yeah, I think a little bit as a triangle. I think as we walk, I tell the other two, Rogan's down, and I don't know if he's going to make it. Kali was working on him whenever I left, but we have to finish this now. And like a spearhead, I think I want to head towards Pestage's chamber.
Nice. Okay.
I think uncharacteristically Curl, has turned red with anger.
Nice. What is Charlotte doing? What's Charlotte's reaction to what happened with Rogan?
She did. Will Kirill tell us his last words that everyone must have a choice?
Yeah, I think as we step through, Curl, as we step kind of through the hallway, Curl relates. He was shot as he gave a choice to the ATST drivers, and they shot him, and he died, or he may have died trying to give a choice to those who had made the wrong choice.
Yeah, Charlotte has a plan, especially with dealing with Pestage.
Nice.
So, stepping through.
Okay, so Kirill leading the way, making a direct line for Pestage and where you likely know him to be. Yeah, you know what? Let's have you. What's going on here? This is pretty chaotic. He may have moved, and maybe you need to get an idea of where Sate Pestage can be found.
So you want me to do that?
Yeah, I do.
That is with mind.
It is.
My mind is a 1. I rolled a 9, so that gets me a 10.
Nice. You get to ask 3 questions from the list.
So what's the best way into Pestage?
Cool. Yeah. So you know that he has a safe room. Maybe you got in contact with some of your fellow workers and you guys kind of exchanged. Oh yeah, I had to clean it out one time, and you remember that. So you know
We didn't quite get blueprints, but we got kind of a sketch.
Yeah. I love that because Curl would super have that in his back pocket.
So
yeah, you know where he is. It's one level below.
I got
another question. I missed it.
Yeah, I got a big delay right there. Okay. Who's the most vulnerable?
Oh, who is most vulnerable?
I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Who is the biggest threat?
Oh, who is the biggest threat? So the biggest threat is this crowd and the mayhem that they've created not stopping at this palace. That they go from here to teaming out into the streets and wantonly killing any Imperial supporter, every stormtrooper, everyone that they can. That's the biggest threat at this moment. The mayhem overwhelming this revolution and its purpose.
And I get a third question?
You do.
Yeah, the third question will be, how do we get the crowd to make the right choice?
Ooh, how do you get the crowd to make the right choice? I think one of you seen as a leader, you need to use the radio, your presence, you need to sway them. You have to talk sense into them. Someone has to say this, there's a point where this stops. Declare victory.
Right. Okay. And I think I'll tell Charlotte and Lynn that basically the crowd's getting out of control. Once this is handled, we have a bigger job to do to also make sure that the crowd doesn't follow the wrong path like what Rogan set us down.
We cut outside, and Rogan, there's a point where you make a step, and even leaning on Kali, your leg just folds underneath you and you fall to the mud, and it hurts. And Kali apologizes. I'm sorry. Here, we can get you up. And overhead, you hear the screaming sound of TIE fighters racing towards the palace. What do you do?
I tell Kali to get me the gear. I want to get on the radio.
Nice. And sitting there in the mud, still bleeding, the rain and the TIE fighters above you, Kali hands you a comm link.
I am a voice for the voiceless. I lay here on the palace steps, in the rain, in the mud. My comrades have stormed the palace, and I, as one who doubted our way, have come to understand that if we make the right choices and we give everyone the freedom to make the right choices, that we will have the world we want to live in. The AT-ST troopers and other stormtroopers, they stood down when we invited them to make the right choice. And I'm specifically not mentioning the ones that didn't make the right choice, because I'm just trying to tell everybody, like, you know, the power that has happened. And although I am injured, I can see that the revolution is working. Even now, I know that we are standing in front of the Vizier Pestage, and he is being given a choice. And when he makes the right choice, we will rejoice. We will not kill. We will bring joy and not fear. We will raise our voices high and be heard, and not crush others' voices. We will bring Winosa to everyone. And then I'm turning the camera around and I'm showing everybody the scene as it is, with the screaming TIE fighters and everything. And anybody that was linked in could be seeing this or hearing this. So
and yeah, we cut and we see this hollow being watched by hundreds, by thousands, tens of thousands. People on the surface, people in the undergrounds and the subterranean levels. I think you're trying to... Are you trying to sway? Are you trying to start something with the crowd? Because if we start something, you could cause the mob to be peaceful as one of your choices. Or have them heed your instructions.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, perfect. All right. I will roll with spirit to start something once again. Got a 9.
Nice.
Cool.
So you get one choice.
I'm going to go with the mob is peaceful. I think that makes the most sense.
Cool. I like it. Kirill, you lead Charlotte and Lynn Lanid, Free Wind, and other members from the artistic collaborative, and you reach the safe room. And it just looks like an empty hallway. It looks so nondescript. If you didn't know it was there, you'd never know it was there. What do you do? I mean, all three of you are there, so.
So I think Curl walks up, and it's a nondescript hallway, and he stops about halfway down, and he reaches up and about waist level for a human. He pushes on the wall, and there's a little panel that opens up, and it has like a keypad and some stuff in there. And now that it's visible, you can see that there's some kind of door control in there. Nice. And he starts working on it to open the door.
Well, yeah. Just glancing through your moves to see if you had anything that was immediately applicable. Otherwise,
I could do long resume, or I could do toolbox or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Need something conceivably in your bag. Roll with a guile.
Okay. Let's see what that is. I think my guile's a 2. I rolled an 8. So that makes it a 10. Right.
Nice.
So I think at this point I start digging around and pull the panel off, and I find like a little Star Wars crystal looking thing, pull it out and jam it in another slot, and the door slides open.
Charlotte, when this door slides open, what is it that you see in the safe room? Is it Sate Pestage hiding by himself? Does he have others with him? What do you see?
I think it's a Passage by himself with a lot of like special art, things that have been taken from other areas, some illicit goods, things of that nature, just hidden in the safe room. But I don't imagine he's a type that would have gotten people with him in the safe room. More things.
Can I also suggest that there's like an escape pod looking thing, and he's trying to get stuff into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see like all kinds of like cans, like there's a bunch of food. He could exist here, but yeah, he's about to use the escape pod to Diddy Mao.
Yeah, and I think Charlotte walks in and like pulls out that detonator she has, uncaps the top. Passage. You, like everyone, deserve the right to a choice. In my art that has been placed all over Coruscant now, in the realms of those who supported you, in the realms of those who supported us, gifts, those that have given us gifts, given us tribute, given us trade, given to your very home, lies enough explosives to light up Coruscant in a way that will never be forgotten. However, it does not need to be this way. Resign, give up, and let the people of Coruscant rule Coruscant, and be remembered not as a tyrant, but as the man who made the correct choice.
That sounds like you're trying to sway him. Let us see how he takes it. He pauses before he steps into the escape pod. Go ahead.
I think I'm being perceptive, and I hope my artisanal gang is helping with all these different paintings out there. So let's try this and see how it goes. That's not the one I need to press. I got a 9.
Ho ho ho. So on a 7 to 9. So on a 10 plus, they ask something small in return. On a 7 to 9, they ask something big. Pestage realizes the trap that's been laid, and to end, he says, "There is no court here. There is no quarter for me. You and I both know this, Sal. I will tell the palace forces to stand down, but you will let me get onto this escape pod, and then I will leave Coruscant. You will never see me again."
You will tell everyone to lay everything down, and you will be allowed to leave, and we will never see or hear of you again.
Ooh. What's Lynn Lanid's reaction to this?
Lynn is pretty shook still. I think seeing Char have that detonator out and ready to blow up, and as Charlotte kind of enumerated all of the places that her art found its ways to, Lynn's very worried about that detonator going off. So he is staying quiet. Char seems to be navigating this, and he's kind of like, calculating in his mind, what can he do? Basically, what can't he do? Because he does not want that detonator to have to go off at all. If it means that this guy gets away, that's fine. Lynn is worried that Char might not be honest about this, might say, "You're going to tell everybody to stand down," and then kills him or something. But I just don't think Lynn wants to interject himself right now, because right now it seems to be settling itself out. I think that's his move. He's keeping an eye on that thermal detonator, or not the thermal detonator, but the detonator.
Right. Gotcha.
Do you want to maybe aid me to get me a 10?
No, I don't think he does. I think I want to see how this plays out.
Do you actually want to roll a help or hinder, and then decide, depending on how it is, whether it's a help or a hinder?
No.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think this is like, I think Lynn is kind of frozen, to be completely honest.
And I think so. Are you still there, Rich?
That's cool. I dig it.
Okay.
Yeah, I froze for a second. Carol, everyone is ignoring you, right? Because that's what you're good at.
Yeah.
Charlotte's having this face down with Sate Pestage, and it seems like Sate's counter offered with a thing that he may follow through on. What are you doing?
I think that Curl has pulled out of his bag one of those holovid flying robot looking things, but it's all broken. So he just switches on the holovid portion, and he's recording what's happening in this room. And let's add to the risk. I think as soon as the vid gets past where the paintings are located, but after he switches on the vid at that point, and then there's a discussion of all the explosions happening all around Coruscant,
Okay.
and basically broadcasting what Pestage's choice will be.
Revolutionaries have taken over the Imperial Palace. The palace that I have held after the death of Emperor Palpatine. I have spent the last year doing what I felt was best to maintain law and order, but the people have spoken. I am abdicating my position and will be leaving Coruscant to allow the people to decide what is next. My last order is for the Imperial troops to surrender peacefully. I have been offered assurances by the voiceless. And he pauses and looks right at Charlotte and then over to you, Lynn. He doesn't look at you, Carl. You're just an Ugnaught. Like, why would he care? But just the two of you, as if you're meaningful. I've been assured that those surrenders will be met peacefully, and that Imperial troops who surrender, and then he throws in a little, will not be held responsible for carrying out the orders of their superiors. It has been my honor to lead the people of Coruscant, and I wish you well in this new, uncharted future. Then he starts to back away and make his way towards the escape pod, thinking he's about to get shot in the back. And Lynn, you see that Freewind has a blaster. What do you do, Lynn?
I think Lynn. Lynn would rather Freewind shoot him in the back than Char pulls the trigger on that detonator. So I think Lynn sees it and watches it might happen. I think Lynn is still kind of reeling from the fact that he got everyone to this point, and then a bomb he made blew up people that he led here, and he's having some problems with making decisions. So instead, he's kind of watching things unfold.
Oh man, Carol. You see Freewind has raised the blaster and she's going to shoot him in the back. This wasn't good enough for her.
I think Curl hears in the back of his, in his memory what Rogan had to say. And he steps between Freewind and Pestage.
She looks at you so hard as the door to the escape pod opens up and Sate Pestage. Yes?
He dropped that video, the holovid thing, but it's still recording the whole everything that's happening.
Oh, nice. Nice,
Yeah.
nice. He needs to die. Carol.
This is not the path that we are on. He made his choice, and he is now powerless. He gets a voice just as you do, just as I do.
I need one last sway.
Yeah. I've rolled it enough. I think that's guile. And I rolled an 8. So +2 is a 10.
You are quite guily.
Guiley.
And her hand starts to shake a little bit. He climbs up the little ladder and she doesn't fire, and he closes the little capsule and the thing takes off through this like long tunnel and shoots off into the sky.
There's one final thing I would like to do in this scene.
Yes.
I think in front of the holovid, Charlotte pulls up the detonator, smiles, presses the button, and then this tiny little light appears, and it's just a Pez dispenser. There are no bombs.
I was waiting for like the flag. This is like a pistol.
It just starts dispensing I think Ugnaught candy, and she hands over to Carol.
Ugnaught candy is very good for you. Yeah,
I think there's this thing, I can't believe this device you made for me came in handy. But yeah, I'm done now. Sorry.
No, that's good. I like that. That was a nice payoff. I feel like we should move to some epilogues. All right. Let's go from left to right on epilogues. If you're like, hey, I need a minute or more, feel free to just, pass. Unless there's somebody who like immediately has an idea for their epilogue. I'm terrible at initiative. It's one of my failings. Rolling for initiative.
Left to right, character keeper wise, Rich, is what you're saying?
Yeah, there is no left to right in the Zoom world.
All right. I got an idea of where Lynn ends up. With the Imperials having accepted the revolution, soon thereafter, the New Republic is going to start coming in with relief, and I think Lynn finds his way onto a transport and leaves Coruscant behind. I think having been a voice in that revolution and being seen in that room on that holo that Carol recorded, there's a lot of attention, I think, that comes with being seen as one of the 3 people who captured and then let go with an Imperial high-ranking official. And Lynn spends his time in the immediate aftermath laying low as much as he can, really trying to come to grips with what happened, how it kind of got away from him, and the trick that Charlotte played on him. I think knowing that he was one of the few who knew about this possible bomb threat spread throughout the city, for Charlotte to reveal that it was all a con within a scheme. I think he's ready for greener fields. So he's getting ready to leave Coruscant.
Is Freewind with him?
No, nobody. If it's up to him, nobody's with him.
Oh wow, he just took off in the night, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he's coming to grips with the fact that his whole motive, his whole purpose for finding paths, might not be to find other people's paths. It might be to help people find their own paths. He's really coming to grips with what his goal is and what he's supposed to be doing, and so he can't be taking anybody with him on this next step. He thinks.
Nice. What about Stephen? What about for Carol?
So I think what we see from Curl is we see a shot. The camera kind of zooms in on Venor Delst. He's the New Republic contact that we'd seen a session or two ago, and he's older, so probably a decade or so has passed, and he steps into, like, in the lower levels of Coruscant, he steps into like a bar kind of area and looks around for his contact. And I think he makes eye contact. He sees his contact sitting over there and heads towards a booth, but at the same time, he sees Curl is over in the corner emptying a trash bin and kind of wrapping it up, and takes it, kind of waddles off back into the back and then comes back out with a broom and is sweeping up in the bar area and looks up and sees Venor, and they kind of nod at each other, and then Curl goes back to work.
Wow, that's so Curl. That's great. Oh, that's great. What about Rogan, Mark?
I think that despite the fact that he doesn't have a degree in engineering, Rogan is going to make sure that radios are installed all over Coruscant, that the news is available to everybody so that people can make the right choices. And yeah, I mean, he wanted to be an engineer, so this is what he'll do. He'll finally have that life.
Nice.
And for Charlotte, I believe that this entire endeavor has made her feel much smarter, much more clever, much more secure in herself. And she ends up, like how her brothers were raised to be like Hut guards, she ends up like in that, like the position the Hut would be in. I see her changing her like moniker to the Droid Mother, reopening like Setsu's as like a free droid cantina, like kind of thing, like where any droid who crosses the threshold is now free, whether you want it to be or not, kind of thing. And slowly, like, starts integrating. Like, this is just one step in her revolution. Next is droid liberation, and that's what she's working on.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Oh, but in the cantina, there's an entire mural all around the walls that are just like like this entire revolution as painted out by Charlotte. And like I think it even does have like Lin Lanid, like just with this like kind of like holy light behind him, like disappearing into it as like after he left, and just like, and like there's like this tiny little Gamorrean Sal statue right in front of Lin Lanid that she like gives her offerings to every day.
That's awesome. All right. Do anyone have anything else epilogue wise that they wanted to settle before we bring it to a close? Questions you have? Anything else? Otherwise, we'll move to stars and wishes.
Where did Pestage go?
I don't know yet, but I think it's going to be a thing. Like, it's going to be a thing I'll do in a future Star Wars Saturday, maybe in December.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like another month's game.
Yeah, but I don't think he like went peacefully on. I think he's got a serious grudge.
Grudge, no. I mean, he was only defeated by a Pez dispenser. There's no grudge to be had.
Oh my gosh, so many assassins. Yeah, no, it's a fair question. I think Sate's gonna make his way towards Warlord Zinj's territory and see if he can wrest some control there to help the last vestiges of the Empire. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
So that will bring our game to a close. That was amazing. You guys were really, really thrilling. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's do a quick round of stars, and if you have wishes for like, hey, next time you run Comrades, this, or wishes of, yeah, my connection's not great either. Also, if you have wishes for, I would love to see X or Y characters or situations appear in future Star Wars Saturdays, you can wish that. Or you can just say I'm good. It's okay. Let's go from right to left in the character keeper. So Sawyer, aka Ferret, do you have any wishes?
Wish I would like to see Char end up in a session of Hut Cartel eventually, and just see how like she works out in that kind of world. And
Oh god.
like even if you want to use her as an NPC or something, feel free to.
Cool.
And,
Yeah, I bet she would fit right in, sadly.
wishes, I just wish I could have gotten more like sort of like what Mark had been saying before. Like I love Char's story, but now I want to see like other members of the revolution kind of thing. Like I really enjoy. Like I would like to play Comrades again, I guess, wish wise. But other than that,
Nice.
nothing wish wise.
Okay, thank you so much. So then, Mark, what about you? What wishes did you have?
We're just doing wishes. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do a round of wishes, then we'll come back with stars.
I wish the dice hadn't been so good. I would have liked to have seen more sacrifice for this story. But yeah, I don't think I've ever played a character where I expect them to become just a normal person at the end of it. And I'm glad that I had a game that gave me someone that down to earth. So I guess that's what I have to say about the system.
Cool.
Yeah. But that's all I got.
Thank you, Mark. Steven.
Yeah, I think I have a few wishes to follow on what Mark said. I agree. And I think I said this during an earlier, wish at some point. For me, at least, it seems like the dice are really hot or they're really cold. So in this session, we didn't see them get cold, but like, during the first session, I don't think I succeeded on anything or something like that. It was like, it seemed like as people played their role and fell into it, the dice always succeeded for their role. If they played out of role, the dice didn't seem to follow on. So the other thing is some of the technology issues we had. I know that just scared me a little bit, but it was fine. It turned out to be great. And then the third one is actually the only one that we can do anything about, which is the picture that you have for Sate Pestage. It's kind of cartoony. If you bring him back, whenever I was looking around to see, what the expanded universe did with him and where he came from, I saw that there was a picture from one of the movies, like a real person that might bring it a little bit more.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that would be way better.
Yeah, that might bring it a little bit more into focus. This game felt very real, and having a real antagonist might bring it back a little bit more.
Thank you. That is a good suggestion. I will take advantage of that. Absolutely. Oh wow, he's a guy. Fascinating. Cool. That's very helpful. Thank you very much, Stephen. And then Cody, what about you? Any wishes?
Yeah, I was thinking about this before we started this morning. I was kind of mulling over the Comrades and Star Wars as a setting, and I think it's kind of a weird thing to have this the backdropping, the overthrow of the Empire on Coruscant and then the New Republic coming in, because we do know that it's going to happen eventually, right? And it's like, that's okay because we could fail. but I've realized I think there'd be a really cool way to play this game set in the Clone Wars, where you're playing people who want to leave the Republic. Because I think that also adds in immediately more gray area of like, which side do you really want to be on? Because you can look at that argument of like the Republic's being led by a Sith Lord and stuff like that. And, there's just, so I was just thinking like, oh, that's a really rich environment to run Comrades. And I would love to play in that, because I like Stephen said, Comrades is a really interesting, well, I mean, everybody. And then Mark, you mentioned this, like the end goal is to just live normal lives. Your heroes don't want to become rulers or whatever. It's like, no, I just kind of want to get to this thing. I want to end this and get to this other thing. So I guess a wish would just be, I think, running the game in that kind of setting would be great. I do think the dice were rolling incredibly hot, except for like the couple times they didn't. And those throw really good, like rolling the 6 on the bomb. I think I was like, that was the most like, okay, finally, not finally, but that is the most character driving moment, is like something went wrong despite all these other things going right. But that's nothing we can control. Obviously, rolls are going to go the way they are. That's the kind of the idea. We were very much walking on a thin line of, is it all blowing up or is it all popular uprising? So I just happened to go the right way, I guess. So that's my wish. There was a lot of nonsense in that. Yeah.
I like it. So I have a slight wish to offer up, but also it's a star, so I will use it to bridge to the stars. My wish is, I wish I had checked in with people before I did the thing with the hard move. And a big thank you to Mark for gently and respectfully reminding me that we had an ask first on that. And thank you everybody for staying vigilant. And I apologize that I did not do that. I hope it didn't ruin anything for you, that I made that boo-boo. So we'll jump over to Cody. You went last with wishes. You get to go first with stars. You got a couple of stars to hand out?
Definitely. 1 star for everyone. I think everyone had these incredible character arcs. And I mean, Stephen Ferret, you guys both had these kind of, character plans that not everybody was privy to. So having that reveal, like, oh, we've been making this new radio station, or, oh, I've been planting bombs everywhere and here's the detonator. Like, those were such cool things to pop in and be like, oh, these people are actively thinking about their characters outside a game and coming with new things that they want. Like, that makes a game so fun to play in when I don't know what other characters are doing. And Mark, the way you played Rogan as this brooding brute, I loved it. I absolutely love that you introduced this doubt, like, are we on the right path? And like, that was kind of what I wanted to see last week, but last week when we determined that the 2 pathways we wanted to go down were zealotry and mayhem. It was like, they're kind of 2 sides of the same coin. And so seeing one of us, Rogan in particular, start to grapple with that earlier, created those moments for all of us to kind of dive into it. And so I just love that. That was wonderful.
Nice. Thank you, Cody. Very well put. Steven, what about you? Any stars to hand out?
Yeah. I don't know if everyone did this intentionally, but I got a lot of emotional bleed off of this game with the current, historical things that are going on in the US. And, if that was unintentional, then it was fantastic. And if it was intentional, it was masterfully done. That, giving voice to the voiceless and, the historical point that we are, and, it just really felt strong to me. And at times during the game, we would say something and it would just give me chill bumps. It was very good.
Thank you. Yeah, I found this cathartic in a lot of ways. For me personally, it was, oh, somebody actually put that in. I didn't even realize I was reading what Cody said. So I'm glad to hear that, Steven. I was worried, like, oh, is Rich like hammering on a thing that's going to make people uncomfortable, or but yeah, I really dug it too. Thank you. Mark.
I did want to give you a star, Rich, for finding just the right balance of scenes before we got to Sate. Like, it didn't feel like it took too long, and it didn't feel like it took too short. You skipped past like the death troopers, and I think that was a good thing because we'd already seen people being shot. But you still provided places for the dice to tell us what was going on in a way. And also thank you for not pulling your punches and actually having them shoot me. That was really good. I've really enjoyed gaming with all of you. I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to play with. So stars to all of you. Thank you, Cody, for bringing mysticism in a really applicable way, and not just being, I don't know, hard to understand all the time. Like you made it practical. And Ferret, thank you for just an incredibly powerful character. She was from moment one, she was dealing with a lot of different stresses, and you took a skin that I would never play, the painter, and made it into something that was really powerful. And I thought that was really cool. And Stephen, you never lost an opportunity to clean something up as Kirill. Like, it was always consistent. He never changed, and that was in that way, he was an awesome character. So thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be echoing a lot of these. I think like Lynn was. I enjoy tying myself like the Hocus, the Mystic kind of classes. It was nice. Like, it felt like a good thing to start off with. Like, we were tied together. Like, we slowly drifted apart, but not like there was a rift, but just like we just went in different directions. And Rogan was like, I think again, both Rogan and Kirill really played to like the brooding, the tired. Like, I could feel Kirill being so not overwhelmed, but just I think just whelmed with like the problems going on. Just like I can deal with this. Just give me like a list, and I will go at it one at a time. And Rogan having to like deal with the family, the friends, like having a life that could have been easier, draped in front of him, and choosing not to go that way. Like, it was really good, like with the choice thing, and again with Rogan and like the choice speech. Shar was going on a completely different path until she heard about that choice thing, and I am very glad you did it, because otherwise we may have mixed in some mayhem with some zealotry. And Rich, just thanks for the game, and thanks for getting me deeper into Star Wars. You are muted.
That was fantastically fun. Thank you guys so much. I'll go ahead and bring this to a close. It's been a wonderful September Saturday mornings. You guys, thank you.
Oh, and you can post it up. I'm fine